My neighbor demanded I take down my security light, claiming it kept her up. I declined. The next night, I woke to darkness, and a brick smashed through my window. I cried, "You could have hit my baby." She stared and said, "Light ruined sleep. Maybe now you'll rest." But when the police found a timer wired into my circuit box, it was set to activate when I moved my family into a quiet neighborhood outside Lexington, Kentucky, thinking it'd be a peaceful place to raise our daughter. We'd just had her 6 months earlier, and my wife and I were exhausted. We worked opposite shifts to save money on daycare. Our lives were stressful enough. We didn't need any more problems. So when I installed a motion-activated security light above the garage, I didn't expect drama. It was basic. Not blinding. Just bright enough to light up the driveway if someone walked up to the house. That was it. I thought it was normal. But 2 days later, I got a knock on the door. It was my next-door neighbor, Sharon Mays. Early 40s, thin, always looked like she'd just rolled out of bed no matter what time it was. She stood there in a faded robe, holding a chipped coffee mug, glaring at me like I'd set her house on fire. "You need to take that light down," she said. No greeting. No small talk. I blinked. "Sorry?" "The light. It shines right into my bedroom. I haven't slept since you put it up." I tried to stay polite. "It's motion activated. It only turns on if someone comes into our yard. It blasts through my window. I measured it. It's ruining my sleep. I'm sensitive to light. You don't need it anyway. This isn't the ghetto." That last part made my jaw tighten. "I'm not taking it down," I said. "If it's too bright, maybe try blackout curtains?" She stared at me like I'd just spit in her drink. Then she turned around and walked off without another word. I shut the door and said to my wife, "Well, we just met the neighborhood psycho." That should have been it. I honestly didn't think she'd take it further. She seemed annoying, but not dangerous. I was wrong. That night, I was sound asleep when I heard glass shattering. It was loud, close. I jumped up, ran toward the baby's room, and my stomach dropped. The window was shattered. Glass everywhere. A brick lay on the floor next to the dresser. My daughter was screaming in her crib. It had landed less than 3 feet from her. My wife ran in behind me and just froze. She grabbed the baby, and I ran out front, yelling, "Are you insane? You could have hit my baby." Sharon was standing in her yard, half in the shadows, like she was waiting. She looked at me and said, flat as ever, "Light ruined sleep. Maybe now you'll rest." I swear to God, I almost lost it. We called the cops. They showed up, looked around, took a report. But since we didn't see her throw it, and there were no fingerprints, there wasn't much they could do. They said she probably did it, but suspicion wasn't proof. So she got away with it. That night, I didn't sleep. I kept checking the windows. I watched the baby monitor like a hawk. My wife cried herself to sleep. The next morning, I bought security cameras. Real ones. I wasn't messing around anymore. And I called an old buddy from high school who does electrical work. We locked up the outdoor breaker panel and made sure nobody could tamper with anything again. Or so I thought. Fast forward a few days. It's a Friday night. We'd just put the baby down and finally sat on the couch to relax. I must have dozed off. The next thing I knew, it was pitch black. No power. No light. The house was dead silent. Except for one sound, our baby crying. I ran to her room. Her nightlight was off. The baby monitor was off. I couldn't see anything. I used my phone light and found her on the floor next to her crib. She must have climbed or fallen out. We never leave her unattended, ever. But with the monitor off, we didn't hear a thing until she cried. That's when I realized the power hadn't just gone out. It had been cut. I went straight to the breaker box. My hands were shaking. When I opened it up, something was wrong. My buddy had installed a tamper-proof lock, but it had been ripped off. Inside, someone had wired in a timer. One of those old analog kinds with plastic dials. It was set to shut everything off at 2:10 a.m. That's the exact time the lights went out. We called the cops. Again. This time they took it more seriously. It was clear someone had broken in, and not just randomly, they had planned it. The cops found the missing circuit switch under Sharon's kitchen sink when they got a warrant to search her house. They also found pages and pages of handwritten notes. She'd printed articles about how light exposure causes cancer. How LEDs are part of a government brain control project. She called herself a sleep warrior. I'm not making that up. She was arrested for trespassing, tampering with electrical systems, and child endangerment. I thought that was the end. But it wasn't. Because the court let her out on bail. And that's when she started the real revenge. We thought once Sharon got arrested, she'd stay away. We figured she'd be locked up or at least scared enough to back off. But she got out on bail the next day. The first sign something was wrong came when I walked outside to get the mail and saw all the security cameras around our house had been spray-painted black. Every single one. Lenses completely covered. Then I saw the writing on our garage door. Sleep is a human right. Spray-painted in red, big letters, like a threat. I called the cops again. They came, took more photos, and said they'd check her for spray paint residue or security footage from other houses. But again, no direct proof. The cameras were down. Our next-door neighbor across the street didn't catch anything. Sharon had gone around the side of our house, not the front. It felt like she was always one step ahead. Like she knew what we'd done to protect ourselves and found a way around it. The next week, the harassment got worse. She started standing at the edge of her yard at night, just standing there, staring at our house. She never moved. Sometimes for hours. She'd have Smokey on a leash, but he just laid there like he was used to it. I'd open the curtain in the nursery, and there she'd be, just outside the baby's window, staring. No trespassing. Nothing I could call the police for. She was smart. Crazy, but smart. We started keeping the baby in our room every night. My wife was breaking down. She couldn't sleep. Neither could I. I installed new cameras. Got motion alarms. Extra lights. Floodlights even. But every time I did something new, Sharon responded. She filed a complaint with the city for illegal light pollution. Claimed we were disturbing the ecosystem. Said our lights were making the local possum population sick. I laughed when I read that. Until the code enforcement officer showed up. He told me I had 30 days to remove the floodlights and one of the cameras facing Sharon's house. Said it was a privacy issue. I tried to explain what was happening, but he said unless I had legal proof of stalking or violence, his hands were tied. Meanwhile, Sharon filed for a restraining order against me, claiming I was harassing her with intentional psychological warfare through artificial lighting. I had to go to court just to defend my right to light my own damn house. But here's where it got worse. Way worse. One night, my wife was home alone. I was working a late shift. Around 11:30, she heard a knock on the back door. We never use the back door. It faces a small patch of woods. She looked through the window and saw someone walking away. They were wearing a hoodie and moving fast. She called me, panicking. I told her to call the cops. They came out and found shoe prints in the mud, leading from the back door to Sharon's fence, and then into her yard. They found nothing else. No video. No face. Just prints. The cops warned Sharon again. That same night, I came home and found a dead bird in our mailbox. I opened it and it fell out, stiff, neck broken. No blood. Just dead. There was a sticky note taped under its wing. It said, "Night birds die first." I was done being scared. I started documenting everything. Every stare, every weird noise at night, every dead squirrel or torn up bush, every new city complaint she filed. I made 3 copies of it all. I got a lawyer. I filed for a restraining order against her. When we went to court, she showed up in a bright blue bathrobe and accused me of being part of a larger network of sleep disruptors. The judge ordered a psych eval. Turns out Sharon had stopped taking her meds over a year ago. Diagnosed paranoid delusional disorder. She believed I was using LED lights to target her pineal gland. Said I was part of a group sent to destroy her circadian rhythm. The judge ordered her into treatment and banned her from coming within 500 feet of our house. But by then, it was too late. Because while they were digging through her house again, they found something else. Something hidden behind a false panel in her garage. A fuse box. Wired to our breaker. With a second timer. And a backup plan. They found the second timer wired to a fuse box behind a fake wall in Sharon's garage. It was older, more rigged together, but clearly connected to our home's main breaker. The cop said it was set to trip our power again. Exactly 1 week from the last blackout. She was planning to kill the power again, probably while we were asleep. Maybe sneak in. Maybe worse. They also found wires taped under the fence, running along the ground toward our house. She was trying to set up remote control access. Like she wanted to kill the power from inside her garage without ever leaving her yard. She had plans. Notes. Diagrams. She had maps of our floor plan, printed from our real estate listing. She'd written things like, "Baby crib equals exposure point. Husband weak link. Rage prone. Next time, disable alarms first." That's when it finally hit me, she wasn't just mad about a light. She was trying to drive us out. She wanted us gone. Maybe not even alive. Sharon was committed to a mental hospital by court order. But because she hadn't physically hurt anyone, not directly, she wasn't going to prison. Not unless something else happened. That ate me alive. I couldn't sleep. Couldn't eat. I kept looking at the window where the brick came through. I kept hearing her say, "Maybe now you'll rest." I kept seeing the baby crying on the floor in the dark. I wanted her gone. Not just gone, punished. For real. So I started working on something. I had every bit of evidence organized. The court files. The photos. The police reports. The restraining order. The dead bird. The mailbox note. Everything. But more than that, I had video. She didn't know about the backup camera I hid inside a fake sprinkler head near the driveway. She thought she'd taken them all out with black spray paint. She didn't. That hidden cam caught her walking up to the garage in the middle of the night with wire cutters and duct tape. It caught her snooping around the side of our house. It caught her running back to her porch after cutting the power. It was grainy. But it was her. My lawyer took that footage, along with the photos of the timer box, the wiring, and the plan she made. He sent it all to local media outlets. Within 2 days, a Lexington news station ran the story, "Paranoid neighbor plots revenge on family over security light, baby almost hurt." They aired the video. They read parts of her notes aloud on the air. They showed her mugshot and called it a community safety threat. It went viral. The story spread. More people came forward. A former landlord, a teacher at the high school she got fired from, and even a woman 3 blocks away who said Sharon once poured bleach on her garden because her porch light was too bright. Everyone who'd been afraid of her came out of hiding. The mental hospital tried to defend her, said she was ill, not evil. But the state disagreed. She was re-evaluated. Found competent. Retried with the new evidence. And that second fuse box, that was the nail in the coffin. In the end, Sharon was charged with multiple counts of attempted trespassing, child endangerment, electrical tampering with intent to cause harm, possession of unlawful surveillance, and wire rigging, harassment with premeditated stalking. She got 8 years in prison. Not a hospital. Prison. Her house was seized as part of the civil suit we filed. That's right, we sued her too. Emotional distress. Damaged property. Risk to a child. We won. The court awarded us a judgment, and when she couldn't pay, her property was sold. We bought it. Tore it down. Turned it into a fenced garden and named it after our daughter, Avery's Peace. Now there's nothing there. Just flowers, grass, and quiet. No shadows in the window. No woman in a robe staring at us. No bricks. No dead birds. And every night, when the motion light clicks on for a second and floods the driveway, I smile. Because it means we're safe. And Sharon Mays is finally in the dark.